I will not talk about technology as such directly. I will not discuss technological tools or digital tools with you, but I will talk about digital literacy. And my aim will be, let's go to the next slide and check what I'll be doing. So what I plan to do is I'll start with why fishing and why not fish. That will be the first thing. I'm not disclosing what I'm going to talk about in that and in what context. And then we'll talk about a framework for using digital tools. Uh, this is my own framework which I have created, and for this session I thought about it long back, but this is first time I'm using it in a public platform. And then we'll talk about how to use the framework, and then the last one will be becoming digitally literate and independent, because there's no point staying dependent on people, staying dependent on a lot of other things like funding and all that. So how to become independent and how to be you know digitally literate, these are the two things we'll be arriving at the end of this presentation. So let's start with this. Okay, why fishing and why not fish? So by fishing I mean by fish I mean this, and by fishing I mean this. So what I'm trying to say is that you can learn. These are a lot of digital tools, and somebody is saying how to use these tools, and somebody is giving you these tools, and you attend webinars, you learn how to use these tools, and you go home and start using these tools, right? This is one way of looking at it. I would call it fish. Okay, buying fish. The next one will be thinking about the tools, thinking about going to YouTube, Googling, finding stuff related to what you are teaching, what you are doing, what your learners are doing, where you are placed, which school you are teaching, the internet connection you have, lot of other things like, all these things you think about, and then decide which tool will be appropriate. Try this one, try that one, try that one, then try that one. But finally what you get will be really, really useful, because you know how to use this, and you have come through a process. You have arrived at it through a process of trial and error, which is really good, because you have been through this. It's not somebody else lived experience through which you have gained this, you have learned this, or you have learned to use this. It's through your own lived experience you have learned to use this. So there is a difference when I tell you these are the tools and go back and use them for reading, writing, listening, speaking, grammar, vocabulary and all. Another way is to you go back, struggle, take more time, find out how it works, and then find something that is more interesting, that is working, that is not working, that is saving time, that is not saving time, something that is difficult to learn, something that is easy to learn, something you can easily use in the classroom, something which is difficult to use, something you can pay for, something you cannot pay for. All these things you take into account, and finally you learn. So I guess most of us would not prefer learning fishing. Most of us would like to buy fish. I mean, just eat it. Why would I learn fishing? But I'm saying that there are wonderful things that you can achieve by learning fishing. So what I'm suggesting here is learn to explore digital tools on your own rather than taking it from somebody. Don't go to experts, don't go to any. You can listen to experts, not saying that you don't need experts. You do need experts. You do need webinars, you do need discussions, but I'm saying go through the process of learning fishing, and then you realize how wonderful your integration will be. You will know when you buy fish and bring home, when you get tools and take home, it will be using tools. When you learn to how this tool, that tool, experience all those things, go through a lot of problems and choose your tools, you when you take there and use it, it's like it'll perfectly fit into your context and it'll work really well. So it's very important to learn how to fish, not just buy fish and take home. There is some amount of pleasure, there is some amount of satisfaction. It's much more effective, believe me. This has happened to me, this has happened to a lot of people. People can vouch for it. So go for learning fishing rather than just buying fish. It's not a being dependent is not a good thing. And let's try to be very independent as we can, and that helps. Yeah, that's my happy face when I learn fishing. Okay, next is this is my framework which I'll be talking about. Okay, and the first stage of my framework is start with thinking about your syllabus. When I'm talking about syllabus, I'm talking about the language skills and components you think that are included in the syllabus, because language syllabuses are all about language skills and components. We'll be talking about in terms of listening, speaking, reading, writing, grammar, and vocabulary. I don't think there is anything else. So these are the things in the prescribed syllabus. If it goes beyond language teaching, it gets into soft skills and all. These are different things, but we are talking about language skills, so I'll limit my discussion to language skills. Other things you can think about. I'm sure there are ways of thinking about. Let's focus on this. So if you have a syllabus, start with the syllabus and think about these are the skills and components I have in the syllabus. Make a list of all the skills and syllabus you have. I'm talking about how to use digital tools, how to become independent, and how to learn fishing. This is what I'm going to teach you, and talk about. Next one is to go to the next stage, which is think about how your students use digital tools, like think about their digital habits. I call them digital habits because they engage themselves in a lot of activities, digital activities, such as they post on social media, they chat, they do a lot of things, they use software, they play games, they use mobile technology, a lot of things they do. They make small mobile videos, TikToks, lots of things they do. So learn these habits of students. I'm talking about students' digital habits. Make a list of how your students use digital tools and platforms. Make a list of all those things. This is the second thing you should be doing. Once you are aware, the next thing starts with your knowledge about tools. That means tools you are familiar with. I don't think today you are not familiar with Gmail, you are not familiar with Google Docs. If you're not, maybe you should be familiar with. So think about what are the things you are familiar with, right? So you can make a list of things. You use WhatsApp, you use Facebook, you use Instagram, you use Twitter. All of you are digitally very active teachers, all of us, right? So all of us use so much of social media every day. Every day you are on phone, messaging people, doing a lot of things. So think about what are the things you do, okay? The next one is very important. That is doing the math. See, what are the things that match? What are the things students do and you do, and how many things match one thing? Think about the tools you don't know and they know, like gaming and all, you may not be knowing. The software you use and video editing, audio editing, you might not be knowing, they might be knowing. Maybe you don't know how to use MS Word for a lot of purposes, maybe they know. Maybe, so do the math. These are the things they know, these are the things I know, this is the syllabus, these are the skills and sub skills we have in the syllabus, and make a list of all those things. Create a mind map, on a on a large piece of paper. Create a mind map, put all these things at one place, okay? And then think about what is feasible and what is effective. If by effective I mean things that can help you save your time and energy and help your learners learn a lot of things. I'm talking about in terms of language skills. And think about what is feasible. Can you pay for it? Can you learn it? Do you have time to master the use of a particular kind of technology, particular kind of digital tool? Do you have resources? If you don't have, can you access those things? Can your institution support you? Can other people support you? Is there a platform which is offering you things which you can afford, or which you can have access to? So think about what is feasible. Can you use that tool in the classroom? Is it feasible? So that's the next question. Once you know that it is effective, it is going to help me and my students in learning language. And next thing is whether I can afford it, whether I have time, whether I have energy, whether I can afford it. These are the things you need to think about. and whether it will be too much of a workload for me or it will be something my students will enjoy, I will enjoy, and it will reduce my workload. Because I, as a teacher, always keep thinking about whether technology will help me make learning more effective and reduce my workload a bit, because I want to reduce my workload. I don't want to overwork and get paid the same salary. So the next thing is, after you think about that, think about if you need professional development, because there are tools you might need, and those are very useful because they are related to, they can help you teach the prescribed language skills and components more effectively. So you need to think whether you need a professional development platform, or you need to undergo some kind of training, or pursue professional development in some way. Okay, and or you can explore new tools in what way, how do I learn the new tools. So think about what are the tools, you need to learn, or what are the tools which are necessary for you but you don't know about, how to learn to use those tools. Make a list of those. The next stage is the last stage, where we talk about integration. Once you learn through a PD, through a professional development program, through a training program, through a workshop, some webinar, somewhere you learn, then think about whether you can integrate those things to your classroom, whether you can do this. Integrate doesn't mean using. Integrate means I'm teaching, addition of this kind of tool will make my teaching more effective. That is why I'm using it, not because my college wants me to use digital tools. I don't think that's a very good reason. That's like pushing me into water when I don't know swimming. So I don't like that. I think there's a problem with that kind of policy also. Very problematic. So it should be, ideally in research you can find that integration always works when teacher sees the utility of a tool and sees that this tool or these tools will make my teaching and students learning more effective. Then you go for, you learn those tools and try implementing them or integrating them uh, to your classroom teaching. What happens then? In the process, you also need to learn to stay updated, to stay on platforms which are active and which give you proper information, to stay in touch with people who are trendsetters, who are talking about technology, who have platforms, who are doing research. Stay with them, talk to them regularly, be on platforms, and become independent. So with becoming digitally literate, you also need to be digitally independent. Next one is, I'm happy. That's my face. Next one. So how do I utilize the framework? How do I use this framework? I would go with this kind of thing. Let's take an example. So let's say you, as a teacher, as an English teacher, English language teacher, you are teaching undergraduate commerce students, and you are teaching them writing academic essays and formatting documents, making academic presentations, and making academic conversations. So you need to teach them academic conversation skills, and then reading academic texts. These are, let's say roughly, these are the skills you are going to teach your students, you are required to teach. So if you have this syllabus in your mind, then you look for what are the things students do. In your students do, maybe your students use smartphones. One thing is clear. They use maybe cameras also. They use, some of them have laptops, but not all. But this is very important because Patil sir a while ago was talking about social justice, equity, access, and digital divide. These are important things. Because some people have laptops, they can do a lot of things. So you cannot give a classroom task which involve using laptops, because not everybody has access to laptops. You cannot carry out an online assessment because not everybody has access to high-speed internet. This is injustice. So we must avoid social injustice, digital divide, where people have access to good smartphones, people do not have access to good smartphones. So giving marks on the basis of recordings, video recordings, videos, or on the basis of photographs and all can be really, really tricky, can be very unfair to some of the students. So must be thinking, as teachers, I know all of you are very sensible and you understand the context really well. You are very aware of these things. So These are things you need to think about. And then some people are very active on Instagram, some may not be. Uh, Most of your students and you are on Facebook, so maybe you should be thinking about Facebook. Note down, yeah, Facebook is one of their habits. TikTok is a habit also, a lot of students. And then WhatsApp. So make a list of all these things. What is the next thing? Is to know what you know. T means here, I mean teacher. What are the things you know? You know Google Docs, how to use Google Docs. Let's say you know Moodle, you know YouTube, you know WhatsApp, you know Facebook. These are the things you know. So certain things already match. Maybe you can build on these tools to begin with and then think about new tools. But if you think that these are not enough for me to teach all the skills that are prescribed in the syllabus, what do? Next thing I will be thinking about, I'm doing the math. What by that I mean writing essays can be done on Google Docs. Okay, so I'm set. Next one is formatting. I'm not familiar how to teach formatting, academic formatting, like following style sheets like APA, MLA and all. And the next one is presentation. I know YouTube, but YouTube may involve privacy issues where you cannot put a video of a student on YouTube and you need permission from the students, and there are a lot of other issues involved. If somebody says something, nasty comments and all, how do I moderate and all? And if you don't allow comments, how will you give feedback? So there are a lot of issues with you posting presentations on YouTube or using YouTube for assessing presentation skills. Next one is conversation skills, and I'm not sure what tools I can use. Can I use WhatsApp? Can I use Google Hangout? Can I use Zoom? So I'm not sure what are the tools I need. Reading skills, I'm not familiar how to use, how I can make my teaching of reading more effective. I'm not very sure. Let's say I'm just giving you a math. This is a teacher. I'm taking a hypothetical teacher, a hypothetical syllabus, hypothetical set of students, and giving you this math. So if this is your math, I'll go to the next slide and tell you, PD required? Yeah, sure, yes. I'm not really happy because I'm saying yes, but yes, required. I can't escape. So what do? So I start with, let's say I rate my priorities. So I need first priorities. I need to find something that can help me teach reading comprehension skills, academic reading comprehension skills more effectively. Okay. So now I think about what are the tools available, how do I find, how do I access, what do I do and all that. I do this, really require how much, where, what, all that. Priority number 2, I have tools for improving conversation skills I need. When, how, where, what are the things I need. So these are the things PD required, yes. But what are the things for which I need PD? You need to, make a list and rate priority wise, make a list at the top, the highest priority, and at the bottom lowest. So go with the top priority and learn the first thing, and then go to the next one and learn. Make a schedule out of it, and then start learning. So before going to a webinar, write to the person who is conducting webinar. Ask the person, what are you doing? What are you going to talk about? What is the focus? And go for workshops which are hands-on. I don't think your webinars help much unless they are hands-on. Hands-on means you sit with a laptop or mobile phone and learn how to use mobile technology or laptop technology. Otherwise, just learning from this, it will take a lot of time. Maybe hands-on is much more effective. Then what do? I have finding a productive direction. I need to think about how do I get the PD done, how do I get into how do I get to pursue professional development. What do? Then what I do, I come up with the first thing. First thing, my strategy will be, I'm saying that you can have multiple strategies. These are only a few which I'm going to discuss, which are, I think all of you are familiar, but you need to think about systematically about these strategies. First one, ask colleagues and known experts, people like the first presenter who presented. You can ask him because he might be familiar with tools. Some of your colleagues might be really familiar with tools, so ask them if they know certain digital tools which can help you teach reading comprehension skills really well, or conversation skills really well. So you ask them and make a list of all the suggestions they're giving, but do not accept what your expert is saying, what your friend is saying. Don't accept directly. Don't go to the classroom with those tools. I don't think that's a wise idea. I don't accept what I'm saying directly. What you need to do, you go back read and verify. Okay, go online, go to YouTube, go to Google, read and verify the tools suggested by your, and go for the review of the tools. By read and verify, I'm saying, let's say somebody says go for SpiderScribe, go for Padlet. These are tools generally used for mind mapping. Okay, SpiderScribe and Padlet. So I'll go and say that SpiderScribe review, Padlet review, or SpiderScribe versus Padlet review. And you go to Quora and ask questions. Create an account in Quora. Quora is a very good platform. Create an account in Quora. Ask this question: do you think I can do this in my classroom using this? How feasible and how effective will it be? Ask this question. Read, verify, read reports. Then decide what tools you need to use. Next one is find the right platform on Twitter and Facebook. You must join Twitter and Facebook if you think you want to be digital literate. These are two great platforms. So join Twitter, join Facebook. On Twitter, follow people who talk about technology, who talk about technology integration, who talk about digital literacy, who talk about tools for classroom teaching. Join them. You will find plenty of them out there who are doing wonderful work, and you will have plenty of webinars, sources, talks, discussions. Stay active on Twitter and join Facebook platforms. Like I am active on one platform where we have around 4,000 teachers right now. It's called Elta India. I'll show you a screenshot later. So join that platform, okay, and see if you can benefit from that platform, because a lot of people post a lot of things about a lot of digital tools and all. Very active people are there on the platform. So why not engage with them, be with them, and learn from each other? That's a wonderful thing, idea you can adopt. Next one is do a paid or sponsored course, because sometimes Cambridge offers paid courses. Sponsored courses are offered generally by Relo, and you can carry out some projects, funded projects with British Council support. And like I did earlier, Action Research Mentoring Scheme, which is a brilliant platform, and we help a lot of teachers learn these skills, and maybe general language teaching skills, assessment skills, maybe also digital literacy tools that can help you become digital literate. So learn those things on these platforms. Think about, if you have money, then go for paid courses, because they are much more effective. If you don't want to pay, you don't have so much money, then maybe you can do a course with on Coursera, free courses and all, and see if you can attend webinars and find information, and then do all these things. Okay, go for reliable sources like Cambridge, British Council, or Relo, because they're really reliable. And then you can request your institute to help you if you think digital tools are necessary, which can help you become, and you have identified those tools. Maybe there is some amount of money the institute can support you with, and then you can use those paid software in your classroom or on different platforms, mobile and laptops. So you need to ask, request the institute if your institute can afford, if they see value in your suggestion, your demand. Maybe they will also talk to some experts and find out about your request, and maybe they will allow you. They want learning to be more effective. I'm sure the principals who are here will agree with me. So they will definitely help you. So go for it. Then we have YouTube, Google. These are two great platforms. Always Google, always go to YouTube and type your query, and you will learn a lot of things. One more thing is, then what do I do? Then these are the things I need to learn. So what are the things I need to learn? First, formatting on MS Word. If I want to learn formatting, I can use MS Word to learn formatting, like APA style. I can learn referencing, citations, formatting. All those things can be learned on MS Word. It's a free platform. Everybody has MS Word. So all of us, we can learn this. Who can teach you? You need to hire somebody. Pay money to that guy and get the guy to teach you how to use MS Word for this. Or if somebody is teaching for free, one of the teachers knows how to do this, well and good, go for it. But learn how to do this, because this will help you also publish your journals and articles, in journal articles and book chapters and all. Next one is, let's say, classroom engagement. So learn Mentimeter, learn polls everywhere. There are a lot of other tools which are available for classroom. Inside the classroom, if your students have mobile phones, you can use Mentimeter, you can use poll everywhere. So there are a lot of other polling tools which are called polling tools. You can use them. Clickers, a lot of tools are there. So choose your tool and see which one you are more comfortable with, you like, use that. Next one is think about conversation skills. How do I do this? I can take avatars on Vocaro and use this. I can create a skit on and record it and put it on YouTube. I can do this. Or I can use WhatsApp voice messaging for conversations. This is an amazing thing. People can do that. And rather than sending messages, you can always ask your students to send voice messages to each other. And that will be really, really good. Listening to voices, responding to voices. And this is wonderful conversation happening and very smooth. It's very private. Next one is let's say class notes. Teaching how to use class notes at the end of the class. You can use podcasting. You can create podcasts and share with students what you taught in a class can be summarized and in the form of MP3. You can upload on a WhatsApp group or anywhere, a group you have, and share with them a podcast. So you can have a blog where you can put all your podcasts, whatever you're teaching on them, based on the basis of those, you can develop podcasts and share with all your learners. This is very simple, very affordable ideas. Next one is training learners. How do I train learners? How do I train them how to use this technology, that tool, this, that, and all? How do I do that? I can use Flashback Express, which is a kind of screen recording tool, or I can use Paint, which like I can click on print screen, PRT and SCR. There is a key on laptop. I can use screen sharing and screenshots. I can keep. That's a wonderful tool to teach students how to use a particular digital tool. Do that. Or you can say, I want to teach them reading comprehension and note taking. You can use Padlet, you can use a Google form, you can use a Moodle, you can use a SpiderScribe. Up to you. So I'm just giving you examples. These are the things I arrive at. Let's say the teacher arrives at. These are the tools the teacher needs to learn. From all sources, all reading, all research, the teacher arrives at these things. So now the teacher needs to learn these things. How? You need to find out how. It may not be the same for all of us. So my question here is, I need to think about constraint and affordances. What I can afford, what are the difficulties, what are the feasibilities, all those things you need to do a little more math here also. Before you decide these are the things, analyze these are the things. And ask on Twitter who can teach me this, where I can learn this, where I can learn that. People will provide you with links. So that's a wonderful way to do it. Cheap and easy. It doesn't cost you. It's free. So the next question for me was whether does the process have an end? You can ask, shall I stop here or do something? Unfortunately, no. But I'm smiling because I think that's life. It's all about the first guest speaker who came, who delivered his presentation earlier. He talked about the same thing, right? He talked about you need to learn, and we are all learners. We need to keep learning. So I need to smile and learn, because if I'm grumpy, maybe I will not be able to learn much. So I'll smile, I'll keep makeup, and mentally I'll be ready and I'll start enjoying these things. I will convince myself that learning is the only way forward, and that's the way you can keep up with all the current trends and all, and you can be a very good teacher. So there's no end to it. What is the next thing? So let's talk about being digitally literate and independent. I have several offers for you. The first offer is basic, which is free, which is you can ask colleagues, you can ask experts, you can ask people around. You can you feel happy about that. Just ask people whatever they suggest, use. That's very basic digital literacy for me, and it comes for free. Next one is regular. Okay, there is another offer for you from my side, which is also free. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, it comes with, you can Google, and you possess some active accounts on Facebook and Twitter, and talk to students regularly on social media. If you do that, then you know their digital habits and you can stay engaged. You can connect with them really well, and it's very important to maintain connection. Be kind. This is what Patil sir was talking about. Be kind to them, be nice to them, be with them. So yes, and then not so content. I'm not really happy. I want to learn more. Then I have a next offer. This is a pro offer. Wow, is this free? Yay, this is free too. What am I learning? I'm learning how to Google and find required info on my own. active on social media. I am, and I'm following research on digital tools. I'm reading research on digital tools, and I'm engaging with students on social media. Yeah, that's amazing. So I'm a pro. Is this end, or do I have anything more to offer? I have one more. This is the ultimate package. If you want to buy, I think it costs money. No, it doesn't. It's free. What do I do? You stay updated, you know how to access those sources, you publish in international journals regularly, you do research on your own at your institute, you learn things and lead the trend. That means you are in a position to tell others what they can do in their classroom. You can help others analyze their situation. If you are able to do the first three, then you can lead the trend, definitely. So you are here, you go. Sorry. So what do I do? So let's know about your plan. Okay. Uh, okay. Can you go to menti.com? You have a mobile phone or a laptop. Can you go to menti.com and type 262929? 262969. Menti.com. Can you go to menti.com? 262969. Can you enter what you think? What's your plan? Menti.com 262969. Can you do this right away? We can start with our team. I think other presenters. Hey, one is there. Somebody is here to learn fishing. That's good news. Anybody else? Everybody is learning fishing. Wow, I'm so happy. 4. Wow. Take time and decide. That's not bad. Yes. You're a little skeptical about what I'm saying. That's a good thing because you can verify and do it. I'm happy that you're doing this. Let's wait for one more minute. Somebody wanted to try keep buying fish. Okay, I don't mind that. It's fine. Okay, so we have a lot of people who want to learn fishing and not keep buying fish and not take too much time to decide. So people want to do this. Okay, let's go to the next one and see. In terms of digital literacy, I want to attend this level, the same pin 262969. Can you give your choice? I'm so happy that so many people want to attend the ultimate level. Wow, this is really cool. I don't mind basic level because if you are not really into technology, you are not really digitally literate, maybe it's a good thing to start with basic, then go to regular, then go to pro, and finally to ultimate. But if you want to target ultimate, it's a very good thing because that will keep motivating you and you can do a lot with that. I feel that's a good thing. It's not bad. Okay, because all these options have values of their own. Why you are choosing, you might have a very good reason. So it's perfectly all right to choose, you know, one of these options. There is nothing, but it's good to, really good, I feel good that you want to attend ultimate level. So let's go back to the presentation. I think we are getting a feedback almost, which is, yep. So and you can reach out to me by on my profile, which is just type Santosh Bits Pilania Hyderabad. You will get the phone number, the mobile, the email ID, everything is there. So you can reach out. Phone number, it may not be reachable. You can directly write a mail because the office is closed right now. I'm not going to my office. This is my office number. But you can, once the college opens, you can call me on that. That's my email ID. You can contact me on that. Santosh@hyderabad.bits pilani.ac. We have to check. It's not like other company email IDs where people never check. I check it 100 times every day, so I will get your mail. Or you can, and also you should join me on this because I manage this forum. But there are around 4,000 teachers on this forum, and this is perhaps the most active uh, ELT group on language teaching group on from India on Facebook. This is Elta India. You can join this and you can be a part of it. So this is the picture you will get so that you can identify. I'm giving you a sneak peek. And then this is you can join me on Santosh @SantoshEFLU. That's my Twitter profile. You can join me there, and we can talk on Twitter also. And see you soon.